Alright, so I have finished season 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen and Bungo Stray Dogs. So I guess we're going to talk about them. We are starting with Jujutsu Kaisen, and I don't want to say I disliked this anime, more that I am drastically underwhelmed. So this was hyped up by people online, people I know in real life, and everyone was saying like this is the best of like new gen anime. And again, I was drastically underwhelmed. At best, this was average to me. So the premise is very simple. You have Yuji Itadori, who has become the vessel of this curse demon, Sukuna, who is the master of curses. He's very dangerous, very deadly, wants to cause a lot of destruction. And Itadori had basically been given a choice. Hey, either we kill you because you have the demon guy inside of you, and we want to kill that part of him so he doesn't possess you, take over, and cause mass destruction. Or you can help us track down all the individual fingers of Sukuna, and then we will kill you and eliminate this being from the earth forever. So Itadori is absolutely fine with that. And I feel that is the main issue I have with his character. So I like his character overall. He's very happy and chipper and just kind and a good person, which is great. There's no brooding or anything. But I don't understand his core self and personality and ideology is the idea of a proper death. And that is how he phrases it repeatedly. He wants everyone to be offered a proper death. Not, hey, I want everyone to live and death is wrong, and if I can stop this, then that is what I'm going to do. It is, they should be given a proper death, and a curse is not going to offer them that. So when we are introduced to Itadori, it is already established before he consumes this finger that he is stronger than everyone, he's faster than everyone, like supernaturally so. There is something in his backstory that must be a mystery to us that led his human physical self to be advanced. Then you have an issue with, like, hey, missing parents. Where are they? Why are they gone? I don't know. And his grandfather is dying in the hospital. So that he dies alone with, I can't remember if Dory was even there. He was there when he passed away in episode 1. We're not going into full on spoilers, just talking about like episode 1 here. And it really feels like that was the driving force for why he wants everyone to have a proper death. But it feels like that should have been the pushing point that led him over the edge. There should have been some build-up to this ideology, considering it's such a core part of who he is and his motivations and why he is just perfectly fine with accepting that he will be killed on behalf of everyone else to stop this curse. And I really feel like we're missing backstory with him. It's too either simplistic to just accept that he's okay with this. There's something about his character that is missing for me. Then you have the other deuteragonist. Megumi Fukugashi. I honestly don't care. He is very forgettable to me. Very by the book standard, just a calm down, chill version of Itadori, just not as energetic. Let's just go with that. There's some interesting aspects concerning who his father is, what's going on with his backstory there, and the clan that he's from, and why Gojo is kind of training him, but that's about it. He got some cool summonants, but there's nothing about him narratively that I care about at all. Then you have, what's her name? Nobara. Okay, she is better than most shonen female main characters, but like that's a low bar, honestly. I like that she has a personality. I don't particularly like her personality, but I will acknowledge that when you have a character trait done well, I appreciate it, even if it's mildly annoying. But she also has cool powers in terms of like the curse and voodoo and the nails. She can take an extreme level of damage. Those last couple episodes with her, very well done. That won me over to me actually liking her by the end, but it did take up till like the last 2 or 3 episodes for me to be like, okay, yeah, I like this character. But nothing about her, there's no emotional connections with her and the other characters nothing narratively that keeps me invested. And that's going to be another big thing. These are 3 individual characters that should, like, they're on a team together, but I don't feel they have any emotional connection to each other. The plot itself of this first season is very segmented, disconnected, not important to each other. I don't know how to. We have 3 or 4 like separate arcs that were squished together in season 1 with very little underlying narrative to connect these and build upon each other. This makes me feel like the plot itself is very shallow. We are hovering around the top surface of water, skimming along, and just being like, yep, these are fun little things that are happening without exploring any deeper consequences and ramifications of what came before it. So you have the introductory stuff where we're introduced to what Jujutsu Kaisen and Jujutsu sorcerers are, the cursed energy. That's all fine. It's a little rushed, but it's fine. But rather than exploring the characters' relationships or anything like that, we have the second section where, going into slight spoilers, going on to full-on spoilers, sorry, Itadori is killed during one of these events, and then you have the most lackluster emotional response from any characters. So his 2 teammates, they have not known him long enough to really be invested in caring that he's lost. It's like, oh, my coworker has passed. That sucks. I'm in a dangerous field. Hey, let's just get stronger, participate in this school competition so we don't have to lose anyone in the future. We can protect ourselves and we can accomplish our missions and goals and not feel this fear and threat of looming death. But we don't get any emotional stakes between the loss of Itadori with these characters, which makes me not feel any emotional stakes and loss when Itadori died. At first, I was a little shocked, like, oh, they're doing this a little bit. Okay, what's going on here? How's he coming back? What's going to happen? Like, I knew he was going to come back, but I wanted to see the fallout that his death had, the effect his death had on everyone else. But everyone else moved by it so quickly. So Itadori comes back. I appreciate that, how it played on with Sukuna. I loved all his character designs and the deal that was made. That was all fine. But then Itadori's going off on his own, dealing with a depressed high school student and some other curses, and eventually joins in with the main group for the tournament arc at school that needs to happen. So then the tournament arc at school happens. We are introduced to wonderful side characters that I wish were the main focus of this story. You have the twins. I'm going to call very few people by name. I have not learned them that well yet. But you have the twins, who I adore. So they have been born into one of the very important clans. And there's more on this, with the clans having, wanting to uphold the status quo and not trusting Itadori and wanting to kill him. And just, this is how it's always been done, and we want to stick to tradition, stuff like that. So that kind of political side with the clans I wish was also explored more. And I assume it will be in future seasons. But anyhow, twins, born into very established, powerful clan. But undermined because they are women, they are not held to the same standards. They are looked down upon, they're basically servants. So older of the 2 twins are like, screw you, I'm breaking away from the clan, I'm going to live my own life, screw your traditions, I'm going to be a Jujutsu sorcerer, it doesn't matter I can't see cursed energy, I'm going to make something of myself without you. And the clan is just like, no, you're not. We're going to undermine you at every given opportunity and see to it that you fail. In fact, we're going to send little sister to constantly undermine you and prove that this is the proper way to do it because she respects the clan and knows her place. Meanwhile, little sister, who loves older sister and respects her and just wants to go back to the way things were, is terrified. She's a fantastic Jujutsu sorcerer, but she doesn't want to risk her life. She was fine being a servant to the clan and being looked down upon and being just less than if it meant she was safe. So she's like, I'm so angry at you, sister, for forcing me into this lifestyle, because once you made that decision, I had to be better than you, and I don't want this. So both of them love and respect each other, but if only way for one of them to be happy is for the other one to fail, basically. Or little sister can just also say, screw out the clan and go with older sister. I would prefer that. But regardless, I love their dynamic. I love their character. I love their history. Then you have Toto, something like that. This man. I love this man. I shouldn't. I didn't expect to. He is not, okay, the character trope of like the pervy anime character, which I always despise. I thought he was going to fall into that trope. He does not. He falls into the you are my brother, best friend, power of friendship trope, which I love. So he initially went into around to everyone asking what their ideal woman is, and he, when you say like something like their personality or something, he's like, well, that's a stupid thing. But he really liked whatever it was that Itadori had said. I can't remember what Itadori had said. But he's like, yes, we are brothers. I am your best friend. I'm going to see you succeed. I'm going to hype you up. I'm going to teach you and train you. He like went from wanting to kill this man to let me teach you, let me force you to better yourself, and you will better me, and we will grow together. You are my brother now. And I love him so very much. I loved his fight. Everything with him was great. Then you got other ones with cool powers. I like the guy who released cursed energy when he spoke, so he can't really say many words without releasing this cursed energy. So he's like, tuna spring roll. And that means something, but it's not going to release cursed energy, so that's how he communicates. Like, I love the side characters so much. Even, like, Gojo is, like, one of the fan favorites, and he's fine. I absolutely love the overpowered character who knows he's overpowered, who can be goofy and childish and not take things seriously because he has that kind of power. But then when things do get serious and he gets serious, like, can rain hell down on people. That's a fun character when used sparingly, and he is used the perfect amount. But the other sensei guy, this guy, I'm sorry. Takes me a couple seasons to learn people's names. I love him so much more because he acknowledges that Itadori is a child and should be protected and not thrown into these dangerous situations, and is treating like an adult and child. Like, let me handle this, I am the adult, until Itadori proves himself that he can handle himself. I like his character so much more. Yeah, so that kind of sums it up. Main cast, I'm not invested in. Side casts, I absolutely adore and love. Plot itself is very separate without much depth. So, like I said, introduction, school arc, there's depressed kid, and then small side story. Nothing flowed together well aside from you have the big bad villains who, again, are interesting, but they're not really manipulating, playing their full, showing their hand yet in this first season. So I have not become emotionally invested in anything, and I feel that is the job of season one. Season one should be like setting up the world and story and narrative and getting you invested in it. I'm invested in nothing yet. Again, except for the side characters, but I feel that shouldn't count. Animation was beautiful, violent as hell. I love that we can go from a cute little dinner conversation to an absolute bloodbath at a drop of a hat. But we'll see how it goes from here. I'm mostly just disappointed that I expected more. Just from what had been hyped up, I expected more. Alright, so the next one I finished is Bungo Stray Dogs, and this I enjoyed a lot. However, I definitely have some issues with it. The first being that I picked this up because it was labeled as a seinen anime. However, it definitely feels more like a regular battle shonen. Except the characters, of course, are a little aged up. So we have Adachi, who is a 18-year-old orphan, been kicked out, starving on the side of the road. He's all alone, and he ends up joining the Armed Detective Agency, which is an organization that's of members who have supernatural powers. Like, we got super strength and healing powers and canceling out powers and being able to write something in a book and make it become real. Like, everyone has some version of any type of supernatural power, and they're going up against whether it be the port mafia or helping out the local police or just individuals who need help on a case. So good premise, except for like a group of detectives, there's no mystery going on. There's an underlying mystery of why people are after this Adachi guy, but that's about it. And their biggest conflict and enemy being the Port Mafia this season, they are drastically underwhelming. Like, I feel no threat for these people. They lose so easily. Even the big bad within their organization, which has emotional ties to other characters in here and should be a big threat, he gets beaten repeatedly. So, like, the stakes when these guys show up, I'm just like, okay, how are you going to lose this time? Um, and narratively, the plot is kind of shallow. Everything is just beat by beat. Each episode feels like a standalone, very little underlying narrative. It's just kind of Adachi going in with the other characters, seeing how they handle investigations, learning from them. He is growing as a character. He's getting self-worth. He's learning to control his own abilities. And there's development on his part and his character, which is why I enjoyed this show. But narratively, the plot is a little bit thin. Then, of course, I can't not talk about Dazai because he is wonderful. He does have a little bit of criticism from me in terms of his goal is to find a woman to commit a double suicide with. Um, so, not a big fan of that part of his character, but I have been told that all the characters are based on real life poets or authors' most famous characters. So I honestly really want to read the work that he's based off, as well as the totally biological siblings. I Their relationship is something, and I am still working under the assumption that they are not biologically related, and the girl is the bodyguard to the guy, and their undercover narrative code whatever was hey, let's just pretend to be siblings so I can stay close to you and no one will question why I'm always with you kind of thing. But then they fell in love. That I'm sticking with that because I refuse to believe they're related. So maybe I should read the books that those characters are based on so I know what the hell's going on with them. Action is great. Characters are wonderful. I got very invested in all the characters. So each standalone episode made me love these characters. That's kind of all there is to say. First season, again, it did its job. It set up the world, it set up the premise, it made me like these characters, and now I'm hoping the next season, which is already out and I can go watch, is going to hopefully explore more of the narrative plot lines and themes in this show. So Dazai had a great backstory that was hinted at slightly and was revealed near the end, and I really want to explore more of that so badly. And you were introduced to another group of big bads organization, a new group that I'm like, okay, maybe you'll actually pose some kind of threat. So that is all I got. I will talk to you later.